Hey guys, so this is the final layout for the Kill the Kit February 2013. This is the last piece of 12 by 12 paper that I have left from the kit, that green paper with the yellow, I'm not really sure, I think they're cream. Yeah, with the cream circles on it. So I had this piece of scrap basil cardstock in Raven sitting on my desk because I used it to mat some other photos on a different layout. And instead of going and cutting down another piece of 12 by 12 cardstock, I decided that I would make these three photos fit on what I had left of this black cardstock. So I'm going to layer the photos here and figure out where I need to trim them so that they all fit without having to cut into another 12 by 12 piece of cardstock. So I'm just going to use my ATG gun and lay these photos out here, leaving a little bit of a border around them to make it like a mat, or actually make it a mat. And I'm also leaving some space in between the photos so that they're not overlapping. So it looks like they may have been matted individually when in all actuality they haven't been. And so then I'm going to use this envelope on the page because I want to include the pictures on this layout are of my husband, my father-in-law, and my brother-in-law, and they're making Polish potato pancakes, which are called Plotsky. And the journaling on this layout talks about how I didn't consider the fact that my husband being Polish was when we first started dating, I didn't really, think about it. I come back, my family background is Polish. My grandfather and grandmother on my mother's side were from Poland originally, and they immigrated to this country. So I grew up with a lot of Polish traditions and things like that. And when I met my husband, I mean, his last name is Huminski. He's obviously Polish, but I didn't think about it, of course, like when we were dating. But now that, we're married and I think about the traditions in my family and how much they mirror the traditions in his family, it's I don't know, it's turned out to be one of those things that's just meant to be. So I'm going to put these photos down on this 12 by 12 background paper on some foam adhesive, but I had to get rid of some parts of it because the envelope was pushing that bottom right hand corner of that photo mat up even further than the foam adhesive. So I cut the foam adhesive off of that one side and then layered it over the envelope. And the reason I chose to use the envelope on this layout was because I want to put the recipe for the Plotsky in that envelope. And then I'm going to use this vellum on that one side on the right hand side of the paper I wanted to mute the background just a tad because I'm going to use that upper right hand corner that doesn't at the moment have anything in it to do my journaling, and there's going to be a large chunk of journaling that goes on this page. So right now I'm just measuring how long I want that vellum sheet to be, and as you can see, I pulled out stamps, and those are all the stamps that I have that are related to cooking. I keep my stamps in those CD cases, and they're all by theme, and I still need to do that. I have some stamps to put away. I still need to do that layout. I still need to do that video talking about how I organize my stamps. And I do have some stamps to put away, so I could probably do that. I don't know when I'm going to have time, but it's on the list of things to do, how I organize my stamps. You guys will really think I'm crazy once you see that. I went up last weekend and helped a friend of mine organize her scrapbook room, and I really think I should do that for a living. Like, medical research be damned. No. I really think that I'm kind of crazy anyway where it comes to organization and things. Like my kitchen cabinets, my brother was up yesterday and I have my canisters labeled and it says white sugar. And he was like, most people just put sugar on there. And I'm like, yeah, but it's white sugar. That's different than like the brown sugar or the confectioner sugar or whatever like that. He's like, you're insane. So anyway, that's just a little segue, so a little insight into my crazy life. So I was looking for some washi tape I'm still dealing with the whole vellum adhesive thing. So I was looking for some washi tape that would hold that top right hand corner of the vellum down. So I picked that one there. It doesn't match exactly the way I would like it to. Um, against the envelope, but it's not so bad. And then I was going to take, because that one side of the envelope sticks up where that metal clasp is, I was trying to take that off, but it didn't come off. So I thought, okay, well, instead of ripping it and making a mess, I used some foam adhesive to actually pop it up so it looked like it was meant to be popped up off the page rather than it just flapping there because of that metal clasp that was there. So I'm using these. These are from Little Yellow Bicycle. These little pins, and I put them here by that envelope, and I'm actually going to take them off of there in a while. They're not going to live there forever. Because as I get further into this, I realize it's not where I want them. Because as you can see, if you look at this and you look at the triangle that's created with the pins, you can tell that it's not inclusive of all of my photos. So it's cutting that one photo off out of the triangle. So that's why I decided in the end to move those pins that are by the envelope, and they will eventually go on the bottom left-hand corner. And right now I'm thinking about embellishments. When I use more than one photo on a page, and especially in a strip like this, I get sort of lost where embellishments, like where should they go? I do pretty well when it's a, oh, excuse me. I do pretty well when it's a 4x6 and it's, in the middle of the page and you got to figure out where the embellishments are going to go there. But when it's these larger photos, or it's multiple photos, then I'm like, where are those embellishments going to go? So here I'm thinking about embellishments, and I'm using this stamp, and it says family recipe on it. So I used that vellum that came in the Studio Calico kit, and I'm using some black embossing powder, and I'm going to emboss them, and then I'm going to use a circle punch, and I'm going to punch them out. I think I'm looking for the circle punch now. La la la. Oh, I will not be singing for you guys, seriously. I cannot sing. We're gonna wreck some windows or some eardrums or something the day I start singing. So here further, I don't like that the vellum. I thought it needed a little bit more color behind it, sitting on that white envelope there, and sitting on the photos. I felt like it needed some color behind it. So what I did was I took another piece of that. That's the Tim and Beck paper, I think, that came in the kit this month. And so I'm just punching some very similar. They're exactly the same. I used the same scallop circle punch for all of the circles. So I just backed the vellum with some of that Tim and Beck paper. I think it's Tim and Beck, but it came in the kit. And so now I'm realizing here that, okay, now if I put my 3 embellishment clusters where they are and create the triangle using the bottom left-hand corner, then these pins are in the absolute wrong spot. So I'm like, okay, well, we'll move the pins. No big deal there. So, and the pins are a bit long to go underneath the photos in some places. So I just go with my wire cutters and I clip them off. I'm going to put them down with glue dots anyway, so the pin doesn't need to hold them to the page because I use glue dots. So I like the look of the pin, but they were too long to go underneath the photo. They were popping the photo up. So I just trim them off with my wire cutters, and I just want to warn you while you do that. I mean, you guys probably know this, but as you're clipping things with the wire cutters, it tends to shoot those parts that you're cutting off across the room. So you want to make sure that you protect your eyes while you're doing that. That's my public service announcement for using wire cutters. Because I'm a big klutz, so I have to remind myself of these things. Like this morning alone, I slammed my finger in the cabinets in the kitchen twice. The same finger in 2 different cabinets in the kitchen this morning, putting dishes away twice. My husband is just like, you are a mess. I'm like, well, I'm your mess. So I used my tiny attacher to attach those vellum circles to the green circles. And here again, I'm clipping those pins off just to make sure that they don't come out from underneath that circle in the upper right hand corner there. So now I'm much happier with where my three embellishment clusters are. They include all three of my photos. And it's balanced in all four corners because the colors are the same. The colored pins I use are the same as the colors that show up in the envelope flap there. But the only problem that I'm seeing right now is, as I'm looking at it, is I feel like it needs a little bit more um, embellishment. So I'm thinking about that. And while I was thinking about that, I thought, okay, let me just figure out what my title is going to be. And I knew I wanted it to say Making Plotsky. And I wanted, because all three of them were in the kitchen making it, I really wanted it to say how many Polacks does it take. And I'm using, um, I didn't want to offend anyone using the word Polak, so I took the C out. Typically, if it's the derogatory um, form of the word, it's Polacks. My family would have found it funny if I had used the C. They wouldn't have cared so much, but I didn't want to offend anyone, so I'm using the more, I don't know. According to the internet, this is the less according to the internet, because you know everything you read on the internet is true. But according to the internet, this is the least. This is not a derogatory spelling of the word Polak. So, but like I said, my family and I, we're not offended very easily by the Polak joke, so we don't really mind. It could have been the offensive. Not even, we don't find it offensive. We find it funny. So it's, you know, you want to tell a story about how, how let's see, intelligent challenged, intelligence challenged. Polacks are, that's okay with us. We don't care. We find it pretty funny. But I didn't want to offend anyone who didn't find it funny, so. And we say this all the time. We'll say, how many Polacks does it take? Or if one of our nieces or nephews do something that's a bit crazy, or even if we do, we'll look at them and go, "Oh, their Polish is showing." That's a mother-in-law. That's one of my mother-in-law's sayings. "Oh, your Polish is showing." So, so it doesn't offend us, but I didn't want to offend anyone else either. So, I used two question marks here because I needed to fill up the space. I um I typically love my punctuation, more exclamation points. I try not to because I know that it offend, people don't like it, when you're using like multiple exclamation points, but I do tend to use, like if you read like my Facebook posts or anything, there's lots of exclamation points. So, anyway. So I'm going to try to use some wax paper here and figure out where I'm going to put the word Plotsky. So I'm just laying them out so they will fit up there. And then I realized, well, there's no way I can layer those letters to fit on, fit from the photo to that circle embellishment. So I just raised it up above the washi tape instead of over the washi tape there. And I know that my journaling is going to go underneath that word. Excuse me. So now I'm just using these yellow letter stickers again from, I think that's Lily Bee Design. Oh, the hair and the glasses again. I have to move that camera. Good Lord. Or I need to start showering before I scrapbook, one or the other. The only problem with that is I'll wake my husband up. Not that it'll bother him so much because he'll go right back to sleep, but like I've said before, I typically get up in the morning and come down to the scrap room and scrapbook before he gets up because he sleeps late on the weekends. He sleeps till like noon or something. So I have plenty of time to get some scrapbooking in before he wakes up. So that's why I'm typically down here in my pajamas scrapbooking because I come down before he wakes up and then after he's up, we make breakfast and well, it's lunch by the time he gets up. But we make that and then we shower and stuff. So. So I used some stars from another one of these stamp sets that have to do with cooking, and I used it's a little saying there that says top secret. And because I used the stamp, I just thought that I would use that stamp around the outer edges of the pages to bring those stars. I didn't want the stars to only be used, that icon to only be used in one section of the page. So I just used those stars around the outer border of the page as well, just to bring that sort of icon around the page and not have it in one location. And now I'm looking at it and I'm feeling pretty happy with the way it is, and I'm thinking about the journaling, or at least that's what I think I'm thinking about. I like when I narrate these videos as soon as I'm finished the layout, because then I remember what I was doing. But this one I finished, I don't know, a week ago or so, and now I'm trying to narrate it. And I'm like, huh, what was I doing? But yep, it's the journaling. And I didn't use a ruler or anything, because because of the way those circles are laid out on the page, I was able to use that to make sure that my writing was semi-straight. It actually turns, it's not perfect, but it actually turned out pretty good. It doesn't, when I write, everything tends to slope down when I write. So these circles did kind of keep it in an even line. If I had to do it over again, I might have printed my journaling directly on that vellum, but I don't think that far ahead, so. And I really like handwriting in the sometimes I will type up my journaling and stuff, but I do really like I mean I'm not a big fan of my handwriting. I don't think it's the best handwriting in the world or anything by any means, but I do like that it's captured. And then I finished up the journaling, and here's a final look at the layout. And I thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time. I'm going to get started on my March 2013 Studio Calico kit, and we'll see where we go. So if you have any questions, leave them in the comments, and I will talk to you guys next time. Thanks for watching.